Hi guys, this is Dr. R. Arthi, associated with Kamaraj College of Engineering Technology as an associate professor in the Department of Information Technology. In this video, we are going to look into one concept that is present in Python, which is none other than modules. So, modules in Python, this is very similar to the set of libraries that you see in other language. For instance, we do have a file called stdio.h. So, this is a file which is present in a C language. When we consider any C language, we do have a file called stdio.h. What is the purpose of stdio.h? The purpose is this specific file will have some set of function which is helpful for input and output, like printf, scanf. So, we do have some set of functions like this, like getters. So, the functions that are supporting for input and output, all those things are put into one specific file called stdio.h. The same way we do have some files called string.h, stdlib.h. So, all these .h files are called as header files. All these files in C is called as header file. Now, we are going to term the same thing in a different terminology in Python. So, in Python, we do have a concept called module which is resembling the concept of header file. So, here in Python, this module defines as this is a collection of functions. This is a file which is going to have a collection of functions. Not only function, this modules will have some class or it may have some sort of definitions. So, any sort of things that are present in Python which is put into one specific file with .py as extension is called as modules. Once again I will repeat, modules are nothing but a file which contains some set of functions or class or any definition, and this specific file is saved with .py as extension. So, in short, whenever I am speaking about modules, this modules is set of or a collection of functions, right. So, for example, let me take the calculator operation. Calculator. We know this is a simple calculator as it contains some process for addition, some process for subtraction, some process for multiplication, and some process for division. So, we do have all these four basic operations under calculation. Now, what I can do is, I could write some functions for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and putting all these things into a single file called calculator. So, let me store this as calc.py. This calc.py is going to have the function definition for addition as def add of a comma b, and here sub of a comma b, and here multiplication as def mul of a comma b, and division as def div of a comma b. So, now what are you seeing here is, we have a file called calc.py which is going to tell about the basic operations in a calculator, and this specific file has four different operations. One is add, the second one is sub, third one is mul, and fourth one is div. So, this is how this module is being organized, right. So, now we have understood what is module, right, having a file with a collection of functions, that is what called as modules, and this is how it is being organized. How are we going to utilize all these things? We have defined a module. After defining a module, we should able to access those modules, we should be able to use those modules. How are we going to do it? Now, let us go back to our C. How are we using this header files? We do have a stdio.h as we saw before. How this stdio.h is used in our program? We will use something called hash include. So this is how we use std_h in my program. This is done with C. So this is what header file, and this header file is included in my program using hash include. What about Python? In Python, how this module is include? So we are going to include the module by taking a syntax as import, because in Python hash include is very similar to import, right? So in Python we do refer hash include in C as import in Python. So import the module name. So this is how we used to import the specified module inside my code. So whatever module that we created so far can be included in this fashion. So in our previous example, we have taken a module called calc. So let me put an import statement telling import calc. So now what happened, whatever functionality or whatever features that this calc has, it can be utilized in our program, right? So this is how a module can be included in our code. So let me recollect how we are going to include the module in our program. Using import statement following by the module name, we can import any of the modules that we have created, the user defined modules. And for example, if calc is a module, then import calc. Okay. So far we have understood what is module and how it can be imported. Do we have any predefined modules? Yes, we do have plenty of predefined modules in our Python, like math module, time module, OS module, sys module. So we have plenty of such modules that are present in Python, which makes our job very easy. Before looking into all those things, let me put a small example so that it will be very easy for you to understand how the user defined module is working. Now I am going to write two different files. So I am going to split this, and I am going to take my first file as calc.py, and this is my main code.py. So as you see, I have two Python code, one is calc.py, the other one is main code.py. My objective is I am going to make this specific file as modules, and this code is going to use the module. So this is how I am going to do my code. So now let me write a code for calc.py, which is going to have some set of functions to perform a basic operation. As I mentioned earlier, I am going to do 4 different operations. One is the addition operation having with 2 numbers, just a return telling a plus b, and then def sub a comma b telling return a minus b, and then def mul a comma b telling return a into b, and then a def div a comma b. Here I am going to write a simple code, so I am not going to have any of the denominator checking. I am imagining that b will never be 0. So return a by b. So I have written 4 different functions which is present under the file called calc.py. This calc.py is going to act as a module which is having 4 different operations. Now coming to main code.py. As I said, main code.py is to utilize the code. So using that code, we can do some set of operations. How are we going to do? As this specific file has a name called calc.py, calc will become a module for this specific code. So import calc. So now what happens? Whatever features that we do have in the code called calc.py can be utilized in my code. And when I am going to use the functions that is present, how are we representing this module? We have a module called calc, and inside this module I have add sub mul div. So imagine that all these 4 functions are present inside a box, and this box has a name called calci, and there may be another box which is S calci, which is for a scientific calculation. This is to do some sort of operations that is advanced than the calci, basic calculation like fact, fib. So now I am having 2 modules. To understand very carefully, I have 2 modules. One is calci, the other one is S calci. Now, if I want to say that I am going to use sub, okay, if I am going to say I am going to use sub, how do I say? Say that sub is present under calci, so I am going to access that using calci of sub, right? So, when I am going to access the method called sub here, I can access having with res equal to calci dot add having with 10 comma 20, res 1 equal to calci dot sub of 10 comma 20, res 2 equal to calci dot mul dot 10 comma 20, and then you can print all the data that has been got as a result. So here you want to understand 2 points. One is we have to use import calci. This import calci is used to import whatever functionality that you have in calci.py, and then in order to access the add, so in order to access add, we have to access it using the module name called calci. So this is how the module in Python will work. Now on executing this main code.py, automatically the calci.c is recognized, and the functions that are present in calci.recognized are executed, and each and every function can be used. So in this video we have come across what is module and how this module can be imported in our code, and how all the functions can be utilized. 2 things that you want to remember is you are supposed to include the modules that you developed using import statement, and each and every functions or any specific definition that is present inside the module can be accessed using module name dot function name or module name dot the definition, the variable. So this is how module in Python works. That's with this video. In the next video we will look into some demo related to module, and along with that we will look into one another concept called package. Thank you.